Hey everybody, hello. We're back. I had to sign out and come back in. And so for you that are join us, for you that are going to be watching later, we want to welcome you. We want to welcome you. Thank you for watching us today. For you that are going to be watching later. All right, and so we are really excited to be on. We try to do these every Friday. Unfortunately, we're not always. It's not always possible for us to do it every Friday. So, and we wasn't able to tell anyone else. Hey, Monica, good seeing you. Thanks for joining us. So we wasn't even able to send out an announcement on our mailing list or here on YouTube. So I just said we were just going to jump into it, and hopefully someone will show up. And Monica has shown up, one of our former clients, who is also a writer and an author. And so thanks for joining us, Monica. All right, so I'm going to just wait a few minutes and then we'll get into today's topic. And we're going to be talking today about your creativity in ministry and the marketplace. All right, so these of course are some of our favorite subjects. And if you're interested in learning more about ministry in the marketplace, we've got a link where you can go to our webpage, our landing page rather, and you can learn more. And then you can reach out to us to contact us, okay? We would be glad to explore this topic with you. All right. So just gonna wait a few minutes. I hope you're doing well, Monica. And how's the weather out in California? It is quite hot here in Georgia. I mean, we've been getting close to 100 days here in Georgia. And so I try not to complain about the heat because it is the summertime, right? And when you're in the summer, you're going to have heat. And when you are in the South, when you're living in the South, you're going to have heat. Yeah. So I try not to complain about it or make it a topic of conversation. I'm just glad for the season. And in a few months, the temperatures will be adjusting. Even though I'm still in Georgia, it will not get as cold here as it will get in Ohio, which is where I'm from, Cleveland, Ohio. And one of the reasons why I'm living in the South now, of course, is because the Lord sent me here, but my desire from childhood has been to live in the South. And part of that was because I hated the winters. I used to have to walk to school in the winter and in the snow and in the cold, and we would have to over bundle our clothing and put on boots. And I just never liked that. I never liked the winters in Ohio. So when I got an opportunity to get out of there, I did. I see one other person has joined us. If you don't mind writing your name in the chat box so I can know who you are. And we're going to get started in a minute. We're going to get started in 1 minute. And thank you for joining us today. Thank you for watching. And hopefully this is going to be a good discussion. Any questions or any comments about ministry in the marketplace? I offer a little coaching here. Can't do a lot, but I do offer a little coaching here. And hey, Apostle Keithan, thank you. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And so if you've got, some problems you want to get some help with, or if you're trying to navigate through both ministry and the marketplace, just put your question in the chat box and we'll do our best. And as a coach, we do not offer advice, but we'll try to help you navigate through whatever your situation is. And hopefully we can offer something tangible to you in the sense of helping you find the answer, okay? So today we're talking about embracing your creativity in ministry and the marketplace. And as I said at the beginning, this is very dear to me. Of course, as a creative coach, that's very important to me, being a creative coach, and then coaching in the niche of ministry and the marketplace. That's also very important. And part of my assignment in the body of Christ is to help those who are called to ministry, who have a vocational call to ministry. And what I mean by that is you are called full-time, lifetime. You're operating in the body of Christ as a gift, whether that's apostle, prophet, teacher, evangelist, or pastor, or you operate in the ministry of support, and your gift is a support to a ministry, to a community. Okay, so that is also because the fact of the matter is we're all ministers. We're not all vocational ministers, but we are all ministers. Okay. And then for those of you who are in the marketplace, which means that you are a business person, you're an entrepreneur, freelancer, content creator, and in the marketplace, you are there to create, you're there to be creative. Now, in ministry, we're also creative and we are called to create. But in the marketplace, we are creative for the purpose of increasing, multiplying, creating wealth, creating products that turn into profits. Okay, so our focus in the marketplace is on profit. Our focus in ministry is on the Lord Himself and on how we can help the people of God reach their own destiny. Okay, all right. So here we go. Embracing your creativity as in ministry and the marketplace. All right. And so all of us have this extraordinary potential of creativity. All right. And we are created because we are created in the image of God. Okay. That means that we're all creative. Now, we may not all have tapped into our creativity. We may not have discovered what is our creative abilities or our gifts or our creative niche, okay? But because we bear the image of God, we are all creative, all right? That is very important for us to understand and to know that I am creative. And my creativity is expressed. My creativity is expressed in how I innovate, how I solve problems, and how I bring forth positive change. And you can do both. Because you're creative, you can bring forth positive change in ministry, and you can bring forth positive change in the marketplace. Okay, and so ministry Ministry is what we do in a faith context, in a faith community. And I know a lot of people have been taught that ministry is for everywhere and that your ministry is your life and everywhere you go, you're supposed to do ministry. That is not really biblical, though, okay? When God created Adam and then Eve, they were first created for life. They were not created for ministry. They were not even created for the marketplace. They were created for life. So we are created for life. Now, a part of our life may be ministry. A part of our life may be the marketplace, but we were created for life. All right. And so in our creativity, in the midst of our creativity, in the midst of our life, we use our creativity to innovate, to solve problems, and to bring forth positive change. Now, you can do that in any sphere. You can do that in any place, all right? But I think one of the things we have to remember is that we were created to live. We were created in the image of God to live. And so your life should never be ministry. It should never be marketplace. Those are parts of your life. But your life itself, okay, your life itself, you are to walk in the earth in the image of God, as God, resembling God, and being who you are uniquely. All right, now whether you are in a faith context or whether you are in the business context, and what I do as a ministry marketplace coach is I'm helping people who are in vocational ministry, but also to those who are in just ministry. I'm helping you to find your place in the marketplace. How do I operate in the marketplace when there's a call to ministry? And I've operated in ministry much longer than I have in the marketplace. I've been in ministry now for 39 years, 11 years as an apostle, 23 years as a pastor. My first 9 years, I was a preacher, evangelist, and teacher. And so I've been in ministry for almost 40 years now. But I didn't come into the marketplace until I wrote and published my first book in 2009. So I've just been in the marketplace for 14 years. But for most of that time, for most of my time in the marketplace, I was still operating from the assumption that I was still in ministry. And so until I came to the understanding that what I do as a writer, as an author, as a publisher, as a coach, that's my marketplace, until I came to understand that, I was in confusion, as many of you are, because the confusion has been given to us from the church, that if you're in ministry, everything you do is ministry. Everything you do is ministry. All right, but we also have a place in the marketplace, okay? Not everyone, but many of us do. So some of us have a call to ministry only, but then some of us have a call to the ministry and we have a place in the marketplace, all right? All right, so by knowing who we are creatively, and by knowing who we are, by infusing our creativity, we elevate our endeavors. We elevate our endeavors, okay? We actually elevate what we do because it is an expression of our creativity, okay? Now, I was in a traditional denominational church through most of the ministry until I left. Actually, it was 7 years ago this year that I left that traditional denominational church. And most of the ministry done in that church, it was done from a copycat perspective. It was done from the perspective that we all need to do ministry this way. We all need to pastor. So if you were called to preach, the only place that was open for you to do ministry was the pastor. So then you had to become a pastor. And if you were a pastor, you needed to preach a certain way. I'll never forget one young man who sought me out for mentoring. I was pastoring at the time, but I was also operating as an apostle in a church that didn't recognize apostles. And so this young man came to me, and he was different from the other young ministers in that church, in the denomination. And because he was different, he was not being embraced by the leaders or by the fathers of the church. And it hurt him. He was hurt. He was being rejected because he was different. And so in a lot of churches, persons are rejected because they are different in their ministry approach. Now, in this particular church that I was a part of, the denomination that I was a part of, most of the preachers had a certain style of preaching. And I was just talking about this on Facebook, which I will not be on much longer. I went back to Facebook at the beginning of July just to experiment to see if I was going to go back, but I'm not going back to Facebook. But anyway, I was talking on there, and we were making jokes about this particular style of preaching that is very popular among African Americans or among Black people. And so this particular young man, he did not minister in that same way, and as a result, he was not embraced by the leadership. And so that type of conformity actually works against creativity. But many denominational traditional churches, they operate from that kind of conformity. Okay, they operate from that. So if you're going to be a minister in our church, you have to conform to the way we minister. You have to minister the way we minister. You have to do it the way we do it. If you don't do it the way we do it, we're not going to embrace you. But when you are creative in ministry, then you have there is a significance and there is a uniqueness to the way that you minister. All right. So, hey, thanks for joining, Tiffany. It's good to see you. All right. So I want to talk about. We're actually going to talk about three things, and we're gonna wrap this up. Number one, we want to talk about understanding the power of creativity. Because you are creative. All right, you are actually operating from a place of power. You are operating from a place of power because you are creative. Okay, now creativity, the definition of creativity is the ability to think beyond conventional boundaries, envision new possibilities and solutions. All right. It is the inherent trait that sets us apart. What makes humans different from animals is that we are creative. We are creative. We were created in the image of God. Okay, we were created in the image of God. that sets us apart from the animal creation. The animal creation was not created in the image of God, and the animal creation is not creative. All right. And so because we are creative, we have the ability to think beyond boundaries. So when you are in ministry and you are creative in your ministry, you're going to think beyond the boundaries of the church, the boundaries of religion. Okay. Also, you're going to envision new possibilities. How can I do this in a different way? How can I minister to people in a different way? And then you're going to come up with solutions, because that is a part of your creative DNA. All right. Whenever we operate in our creativity, we are reflecting we're reflecting the creativity of God. In the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. So we must always remember that God was first introduced to us as creator. Elohim was first introduced to us as the bara, as the creator. And so when he said, let us make man in our image, that's Genesis 1, chapter 1, verse 1, and then Genesis 1, verse 26. So when he said, let us make man in our image, he was making us creative. All right. So again, all of us have within us this creativity. So when you are in ministry, creativity should address your ministry. When you are in the marketplace, creativity should address your ministry. Your business. Okay. When you're in the marketplace, you should be creative in business. When you are in ministry, you should be creative in the midst of your ministry. All right. Now, most ministry, because ministry is a combination of method and message. Okay. In ministry, we have a message. So if you have a call to preach, okay, a call to preach, and if you are an apostle or a prophet, even an evangelist or a pastor, there's a call to preach, which is a part of your gifting. And so you carry the message. But one of the things that trouble me about this current generation of preachers is that they are not preaching the right message, because the preacher does not preach his own message. He preaches the message of Jesus Christ. He preaches the gospel of Jesus Christ, the good news of Jesus Christ. Okay. And so this is why I believe one of the challenges I've seen, and when I was teaching in that denominational church, I had the privilege to teach pastors and preachers, and it was a great privilege, and one that I didn't take for granted. But one of the things that I tried to change is I tried to bring a change of teaching them how to preach prophetically, or how to hear God for the message. All right, because most preachers, again, whether they are an apostle, a prophet, an evangelist, or a pastor, they are not preaching God's message. They're preaching their own. And so what they are releasing in the body of Christ is a lot of confusion. They are releasing a lot of carnality, because they are releasing their own message. But the preacher brings the message. Okay, the prophet, even the prophet who is not a preacher, not only a preacher, But when the prophet preaches, he or she is to preach what the Lord is saying, or they're to communicate what the Lord is saying. All right. And so there's a bit of, in understanding the power of creativity, your message is going to be your message is going to be identified. It's going to be influenced by your creativity. Okay. So that's an exciting thing, because when you're hearing a creative message, most of the time it is not a normal message. It is not the message that is preached among the masses. It's not the popular message, but it is a message from God through your own creativity, because you're hearing God and you are creating in partnership with God. Okay. In the marketplace, our creativity sparks innovation. Okay, so in the marketplace, I am a creative person, and that creativity is setting my innovation on fire. It's leading me to develop services and products and even business models that are very important to person. It's encouraging my my entrepreneurial spirit. All right. And so understand that your creativity is power. It is power in your ministry, and it is power in the marketplace, all right, in your business. Secondly, I want to talk about the synergy, because when you're in ministry and marketplace, it is important that you know the difference between the two. And it is important that you also bring the synergy without bringing one into the other. Okay. Like in the marketplace, a lot of us were taught in the past that we are to do ministry in the marketplace. The marketplace is not the place for ministry. I know we were taught that, and that appealed to us, who feels like ministry is all that we have. Ministry is all that we do. Ministry is my life. But listen, when you are in ministry in the marketplace, you're actually integrating the two, okay? And you're creating a synergy. And I even believe that synergy is heaven coming down to earth, because what we're doing is what the Father has empowered us to do. It is what we have been chosen to do. Okay. My desire to write books, and to then later to publish, those desires were placed in my heart in my childhood, even before I heard God's call to preach. And so I had to learn, and it took me many years. I was 42 when I was 40, 2009. I was 42 when I published my first book, but I had been in ministry from the age of 17. So we're talking about 25 years before I was able to integrate, and then another 5 years before I understood how to integrate my ministry with my marketplace. All right. But there is an integration that creates a synergy. All right. Because when you are understanding the impact of both, you are called to ministry, you operate in ministry, you have the spiritual gifts within you, and those gifts are manifesting. And so the manifestation of those gifts is your ministry. And then you have a vocational call, which means that you are called to a group. You're called to shepherd a group, or to mentor a group, or to minister to a group. but then you're in the marketplace. You're in the marketplace. I'm looking at several of you. I'm looking at several of you. Two of you that are on here today. You're writing books. Okay. Now, writing books can be a ministry, but the selling and the distribution of those books, that's marketplace. Okay. And then I look at Monica, who is a published author. Well, who are you supposed to be reaching? See, who are you supposed to be reaching? That determines whether you're in ministry or marketplace. And then are you in it for profit? Are you going to make a profit, or are you just simply going to give away your material? And I don't encourage that you ever give away your material. I believe if God is calling you, or God has given you an assignment to write, to create through writing, to publish, or to seek a publisher, then you need to be profitable in what you do. All right. And so there's an integration between your ministry and your marketplace. All right. Many times people that I deal with in the marketplace, then they become a part of my ministry. And so because marketplace is not long term, not all the time. Even as a coach, I've coached persons, and then when the coaching was over, then I became their mentor, which is ministry. Okay, so you have to know the synergy, you have to know the integration, because that integration is going to create synergy. Okay, listen, I'm going to be out of here in 5 minutes, y'all. So the third thing I want to talk about is how to nurture your creativity in ministry and the marketplace. All right. And so how do you nurture that? Well, number one, you want to cultivate an environment of openness and innovation. Okay. Encourage ideas, learn from other people, learn from those who are in ministry and in the marketplace. Embrace different perspectives. All right. Don't be so narrow in your thinking where you're not learning from others. All right. Embrace technology, learn technology. Even in ministry, many of you are being called to do ministry on networks like YouTube. I've been on YouTube now for I think 11 years. And you have to embrace the technology. I'm not tech savvy, but I know enough to at least, turn Zoom on, connect Zoom to YouTube, come on and speak to you. Okay. So embrace technology, utilize the tools that are available to us. Okay. Utilize Chat GPT. I know it's being a lot of people are releasing fear that it's going to destroy the world. It's going to take us over. But embrace these things. At least try to use them to increase your own ability. Continue to learn and develop in your ministry and in the marketplace. Never stop learning. Never stop developing. Number 4, collaborate with others. All right. I don't believe in competition. I don't have competitors. Competition to me is a stronghold from the enemy. And so I don't look at people as my competition. I look for for those that will collaborate with me, for those who will partner with me. Okay. And so in conclusion, being creative in ministry and the marketplace, it enhances our efforts, but it also enables us to touch the lives of others. And listen, you can touch people in ministry and in the marketplace. All right. By harnessing your creativity, you can transform challenges into opportunities. You can pave the way for positive change in the world, okay? So I want to challenge you to be creative, to keep being creative, to discover what is your creativity, okay? What is your creative gifts? What are your creative abilities? What are you either being called to do in ministry or being sent to do in the marketplace? All right. Listen, thank you all for joining me today. Do I have any questions right quick? If you got any questions, any comments, would love to see anything you want to share from today's presentation or teaching or message. Again, also, if you're looking for a coach in the area of ministry in the marketplace, there's you can go to the top of the chat box, and I've got a tab there. You can visit that tab, learn more about me as a ministry and marketplace coach, and then if you want to connect with me, I'll be more than happy to meet with you. All right. Thank you, Monica. Glad you were able to get some understanding today. All right. So thank you all for being with us. Thanks, Tiffany, for joining us. Apostle Keithan, thank you for being on with us today. And I'm getting ready to sign off. And hopefully we'll be back on next Friday. Shalom, everybody. Listen, also, I do need you to like. I need you to like. That helps with the algorithm, and also share today's video. Share today's video. I look forward to connecting with you again. Shalom.